what I tell you. What is up, guys? It's your boy Jim Rat coming to you live 5/25/25. There's a lot of fives in there. 2:07 p.m. How's everybody doing? I have had a little crypto itch on my mind that I could not scratch for the last couple of days, and I just left it alone. But of course, I was looking up videos late at night, like I did, not late at night, but before I went to bed, and just remembering some concepts and some ideas, and then some real world things that I've noticed along with Twitter world, DeFi world, real world people are starting to make coins. I have noticed this, dude. And I'm not talking about people that are on Twitter. I'm not talking about people I'm talking about people with construction businesses. I'm talking about people and they are very trusted members of society. The ones in the groups that I have been noticing, trusted in whatever realm, like just as a person, just as someone who's been around for a long time, someone who's always been square with their word. They're starting coins. They're pinching the supply. They're telling everyone they're pinching the supply, and they're telling everyone that, hey, I have so much of the supply, I can provide LP and literally earn enough and have so much of the supply where I can absorb basically all sell pressure because there's only such a small amount of the coin. This is something Richard Hart made famous, right? Everyone thinks his coins go up forever for a bunch of different reasons. Hex went up because no one knew about it and everyone was buying it and nobody was selling it and the supply was pinched. That's crypto, right? That's good. You can bake these mechanics in. A lot of this stuff's coming into play, but it all comes down to trust at the end of the day, because everyone's just throwing their money everywhere with no trust now. And everyone can make a token and everyone can do whatever they want. No one's verifying. I just think it's really important that we step back and look at actually what's going on, right? Like, and where does this come into play in like the real world, and what have I actually seen? And a lot of these coins are going up hard, and I'm not even participating in them at least enough, but I've noticed it from my neighbors, from people. It's not like something they're shouting to the rooftops about either. They're slowly selecting people, telling them to get in, or slowly having a process, kind of like the Tang Gang does, obviously building a community as they go. But by pinching the supply, that's kind of really where everyone stays, because they can they can manipulate the price up. And they just basically are telling people that, which is wild, but legal. Do you understand? I already painted, George. Paint's done, boy. Paint's done, George. Let's say hi to the chat. Shaka vibes. Hey, GRC is making YouTube chat great again. That is my goal. Trust me, I've noticed everyone's channel. It's either botted numbers and there's no chats in the YouTube chat dead. Live streaming on YouTube. What's going on? Let's make cabinets ordered. Well, cabinets coming. Let's say hi to the chat. The Crypto in the Morning Clips page. That would be me. Lane Bomb. Man, what's good, brother? Risa with the biceps in the chat. It's way too late over in the UK. Or where do you live, Risa? Somewhere far away from here. Hex Logic, good to see you. Shane Montana. Well, I need a nickname for you, bro. Rectalic, one of the best names. Tom Pepe, one of the GOATs. We'll be talking a lot about Tom Pepe, where this comes into play. The trust. Again, trust is the key word. People are willing to put their money somewhere where they trust the person. You know why? Because putting your back against the wall and telling everyone to trust you with something is a good way to sink or swim. And people with integrity will not sink because it's worse for them. It's like, why wouldn't I accept shill money to shill coins that I don't believe in, which happens all the time in this industry, especially in the bull market. It's because I'm more worried about my long-term reputation than I am being able to have any luxuries in that initial small moment, if that makes any sense. Like, I have put my back against the wall and people have offered me money before, and I make trolls about it and I joke about it a lot on Twitter about like how people sell out. It's kind of like a joke / like troll that I do. I get it. People need money, but I am here to say reputation is more important. If you're this person that's rugged everyone's money, bad reputation. If you're the person that tried to help or at least did help or whatever, good reputation, better compounding interest. If you prove it over and over again that you're just going to dump in everyone's mouth and then tell everyone to buy and then regurgitate the same bullcrap information while a host of lazy people follow you and buy all your coins, which that'll eventually pay off, I don't know. And Richard Hart really ignited this. Like, I was the first one to say, like, Richard was the first one to kind of get this whole trust thing across because I trusted him. And people think that's crazy, but people also haven't listened to Richard back in the day when he was just talking about free speech and crypto, and it was great. So we're going to play a clip. How about that? The one that ignited, part of igniting this situation in my head was 2 instances on the ground where 2 people that I just ran into bought a crypto coin and made a lot of money. And I kept asking them where and why and how did you get involved in this? And like, who mentioned it to you? Until I eventually did some digging. And then another one in the Hex community, which is like a totally no one knows about yet. So I am going to be bringing up something that I am pretty sure has never been published on the internet other than by the founder. And he did like the most silent, sneaky ghost launch thing of all time and just made a YouTube video explaining it. So we're going to touch on that. And again, I have participated in coins like this. This is all fun money because if these things work out, you can make a little go a long way. So it's not just stick with me. Red Squirrel, always good to see you in here. Everyone, Britt, Biceps in the chat. Risa, make YouTube 6 million. 6 million. Tell us what to take prop and tell the truth. George, who are you, bro? Where is Sam? Keep spamming it. I'll invite him right now. Maybe he'll come in. I have to talk about this concept with him, actually. That's a great point. All right, so yesterday, obviously on my YouTube channel, I posted a bunch of videos of Richard because those were the ones I was literally watching from 4 years ago while I was mowing my lawn and like messing around. So I posted all that stuff and like trimmed it up the way that I wanted to. And I did all of that because, hold on, I forgot I have to shill before I go to any videos. I am going to take like a 10-minute video, but this is the video that kind of like really highlights something that I've known for a long time, kind of. But it was kind of useless information until the next bull run, kind of. It was just always in my head. This whole liquidity trapping, liquidity farming, supply control, trusted person, burning token. And I'm also going to be talking about all the coins that I like and have at the moment. I don't care what people think about who or Richard or what coins are good or this or Vitalik. I just say what I have. I don't give a rat's ass. So let's just play this for a minute. Oh, shit. Sorry. I'm supposed to do this right. If you're watching this and you think, like, if you actually think this information is important, like, I think this will be a good episode. Go ahead and share the YouTube and the Twitter link and the Twitch link. Oh, we got a Twitch fam in here. Let's go. Nice game, bud. I'm also a streamer. I don't game, bro. What's up with that? Is Twitch only for gaming? Not anymore. Now it's for GR. See? Oh, my camera's so bad. All right. So, yeah. So I would like you to go to my Twitter. You understand? What was that? Oh yeah, and like all this stuff, and go to my pinned post and retweet and stuff, and biceps in the chat. I am here to make YouTube chat great again. I used to have some of the most bumping YouTube chats, prime bowl season, more typing than you could ever imagine. Vintage. It was so much fun. Please don't double top. We'll be talking about the dreaded double top today too, and all the coins that I like, and this whole idea about communities, and a new coin that I found that is so new. I think I'm pretty sure it's really new because the video dropped like only a day or two ago, and there was like 3 comments on it, and I was one of them. So we'll be talking about all that. There's some alpha today for sure. But Richard Hart Masterclass, we're going to go back through it. I love to give Richard props where it's due, and Richard is due props in the one category of learning the Uniswap liquidity providing, supply pinching, DeFi metrics, how to bond liquidity, why things go up in price, why what assets you should bond to, what assets you shouldn't, how to make things go up with less sell pressure, all of that stuff. I mean, we were blessed to be getting vintage RH back then, where he was just spitting that sauce, constant sauce. I'm so dumb today. All right, here we go. What the hell? Oh, here we go. I was just trying to make it buffer. So he's going to be talking about value and Uniswap here. Value and Uniswap. I do suggest, and I will get Lane, Jennifer. Great to see everyone in here. If we get enough cool stuff going on in the chat, I'll do a giveaway, but I'm only doing that on hype. If it gets hype like that, I will give away. Whether it's Bepe, it's either going to be Bepe, PDI, or incentive token, since those are the ones on the and then there's a ticker pulse chain. So retweet that. Let's just say that you'll be eligible if you do retweet if we get there, but we're not hype yet. I need to get hype.
We're coming with clones of all the coins with no value.
Okay, so let's talk about value. Let's talk about value. Sure. Right. Let's talk about value. You're familiar with Uniswap?
Yeah.
In Uniswap, everything is interchangeable with everything else. So if one thing has value, everything has value, because you can path from wherever you are to wherever that value is.
Right.
So as long as the pulse chain pair has value that can get to mainnet Ethereum through a bridge, or even to XRP through a bridge, or even to whatever through a bridge, then we have real world value that you can sell at an exchange for money that you can buy a house with. And then all of those PRC20s will be able to find a value against that. And because of the way Uniswap V2 works, you cannot exhaust the value. It can never trade to zero. And so one of the first transaction, or one of the first transactions to occur when the new chain exists, is that a contract will go through and execute a trade on all of the automated market maker pairs to harvest PRC20s and then reward those liquidity providers with pulse. So those LPs will have more pulse and they'll have less PRC20. And then you take all those harvested PRC20s, you put them in a Uniswap fork, and now none of those coins can stop playing the game unless they use admin keys.
So just to recap, so I understand it. So you're going to have effectively a market between the ERC20 version of a coin and the PRC20 version of a coin that will have different values, but there'll be effectively a market between them that allows you to go from one to the other. That would say, like, my PRC20 of this token is worth, a tenth of the ERC20, so I can exchange 10 PRC20 tokens for one ERC20 token of the same name.
Yes, you're going to have value discovery. Now, how those you can't algorithmically add all the coins, because some coins have weird non-standard parameters. Not everything is ERC20 compliant, so you can bridge a lot of stuff. And then there's an advantage to the Pulse Chain network to kind of limit.
And this will highlight Richard being just a little more advanced. I'm a Chia OG. I'm an OG Chia goat. Yeah, but no, I got into crypto from like Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and then I swapped Ethereum for Hex, and then Hex went up a lot, and then I got all excited about Richard Hart because it was decentralized and the staking, and then I learned about other decentralized cool things like Chia, Bepe. Then I learned 9mm, Base, everything. I play with everything. But I have some NFTs on Chia that would blow your face off. That would blow your face off the bone. Yennefer, OG Goat. What's up with you, Yennefer? Which one are you on Twitter? Make sure you comment or something. Yeah, but this is when RH kind of shows you in a subtle way, like, hey, let me take control of the conversation and let you know, like, some of these ERC20s cannot be, like, just very fine details. The stuff that guys like me really like. I like those fine details because it brings clarity to the whole thing. Like, oh, some ERC20, well, I might have never known that. I might never thought about that point. But Richard's dug deep enough to think about that point. And again, this is 3 years ago. So listen, this is years and years ago. And a lot of this stuff is coming into fruition now. This does tie into everything, but it does also ties into, like, I believed Richard Hart because of the density of the detail he put into things. Really, that's what I was looking for, someone to be transparent, but nobody knew. Rarely people knew. And the people that did, they didn't want to talk about it because it's controversial, to say the least. And it gets a lot of people destroyed, but we'll just continue on. I just wanted to give you my insight on that, of why I really enjoy listening to Richard. And it's, a lot of these ideas that he came up with and, like, thought of and thought bubbled. Like, they all came to fruition, but then other people learn these things, and normal people are learning these things. And when I say normal, non-computer people, non-Twitter people, non-artsy people, non-trading stock people, non-high adrenaline people, people that aren't just looking for absolutely max risk 24/7. Like, I would be more on that line of things. But, like, people more like not like me, even more like, hey, I'm going to church every Sunday. I got 5 kids, and I believe that the world would be a better place if then. And then they figure out some of these concepts because it's not rocket science. Bitcoin ordinals. I have launched no token. If there is a token with my name on it, I have not launched it or done anything like that. And if I ever did, and I would say it, and it would all be clear. Nothing. Please don't buy anything. Let's go on. I love to highlight why some of his points are, like, this was years and years ago, though. So you got to remember that. This was before Pulse Chain was out.
The bridging, so that the majority of everything is ERC20 compliant. Yeah. So you can bridge a lot of stuff. And then there's an advantage to the Pulse Chain network to kind of limit the bridging so that the majority of value getting out and into the Pulse network makes the Pulse coin itself more valuable. Because so basically, we already have a higher throughput, cheaper chain, and then you would prefer kind of all the arbing and value discovery happen on that cheaper chain. And then once the value discovery has occurred, if some arbing to mainnet needs to occur, you'd kind of want it to choke point through the Pulse pair just to add more value to Pulse. But if other people want to run their own bridges and then do a wide band, more horizontal approach, they can do it. They just need to build a bridge to do it.
Yeah, so right at the tail end there, well, whoops, we are at the point now where we have bridges galore. We are at the point now where some of these forked, if you're listening to this and you don't know anything about Bitcoin, and you don't know anything about Pulse Chain, which is maybe some of you for sure, like a lot of people still don't know about Pulse Chain. Some of these forked system state copies, meaning damn, my watch list went away. I got to start one by one. That's crazy. So everyone that is anybody has heard of PDI at this point. This is a Tropa botting thing that makes price go up forever because thin pair and liquidity bonding and wildness is like outperforming the entire market right now. And it is a straight up copy of DAI on Ethereum. System state copy, 0 value on launch, price discovery initially. Now we're at 0.003244. You want to see a parabola? And again, I didn't even know about it until we were down here. So it was an interesting journey for me to figure out what was going on down here because I bought. But I could tell there was a lot of trading action. So I was really stoked on it after the 99% dump. I didn't know anything about it because I took time away from crypto and just was doing something else. And that's called a parabola. You know, like that's called like straight up, that's called like 17x gains. So, and I'm talking like from the pits of hell, which I was there quick. Should I launch one, Red Squirrel? I would need to talk to you about game theory before I even thought about it. I'll launch one today. I ain't scared of shit as long as I feel all in about it. And I still would like to clear up some points in my head about things, but I would just have to think tank with my friends. So yeah, so it's kind of like outperforming stuff. Even if you take this big 99 dump out, it's pretty much right on track, right? With everything else. There was just a mess, but it doesn't mean anything other than just chill, low liquidity assets. But then you can see it's bonded, right? Like we'll go over here to Atropa. And again, this is just all from observation after the fact. I swear I haven't even looked up any videos yet. It's just obvious. Like this, you see this says 41.15 million. That's a lot, right? Of liquidity directly to the DAI pair. And what's the DAI pair's main pair? Regular DAI. And then what are the people that are providing liquidity and the market makers are getting? Pulse. So what are they doing? Buying back their token. All right. So let's go to Bitcoin real quick before we take a break and we'll go back to that. Something else. Whoops. I like to look at the Sol chart because it keeps up really well. 107 point. We are in the most disgusting double top scenario a human could possibly be in right now. Here's the top of Bitcoin right here. Here's the top previous, like whatever, like a week ago. Now that was much longer than a week ago now, but up, 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 stop. Want to know what happened last cycle? The same damn thing. And everyone was long. So just remember that. I would do the stealthiest launch too. So this comes to another thing. And Red Squirrel, if you're in here, please give me some pointers. Oh, and then ETH is really just doing exactly what it's been doing, nothing. Luckily, I've got lucky enough to have some of these coins that are spurring up. And we'll talk about more coins. And we'll talk about Bepe. And we'll talk about Ticker Pulse Chain. Talk about PDI. And TFC, which is, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say for right now. If anyone has heard of TFC, let me make sure that's actually the name. Oh, yeah. TFC. TFC. These community tokens that people are pinching liquidity on, pinching supply on and slowly leaking to the people that are interested in that type of thing. Phenomenal. 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 Using tokenomics to real world advantage, taking advantage of the people, the trustworthiness of the people around them, and Uniswap and DeFi and cross-chain compatibility between every blockchain in every way possible soon. Everything craziness going on right now in crypto. Okay? Okay, Tracy, do you get that? And I want to make YouTube chat great again. So drop a bicep if you're in here, please. I don't even care about the viewers. I care about the people that I like the comments. Back in the day, there were so many comments. Right, so that was a little part about here. And then I guess I'll just go right into it. I was kind of weird about bringing this up. but it coincided exactly with something I saw in my community. So I'm just going to bring this up for better or for worse, because in my heart of hearts, I don't think it's bad, but I could be wrong. And this guy could be absolutely predatorial. And if you know anything about, not predatorial in like a weird way other than like financially, but everything inside of me makes me feel like that's not true. I'm also a sucker. I'm a sucker for a good guy. I think people are good initially until they prove me wrong, which they do early and often if they do that. So here we go. I stumbled upon this man. I stumbled upon this man. 3,561. I've joined in 2011. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Timothy Benjamin. Never even clicked on his website link. You see this thing called the Fitzgerald Company right here. Interesting. You don't see a name like that too often. And then look, and I swear, I don't even know if I followed this guy, but I started seeing this. He took the RH model. He started posting candles. And I said, oh, what is this guy posting about? Who's he scamming everyone on? Some of us don't have to imagine, bro. Chart flex, 10,000x inevitable, right? Some of the old classic get you and your neighbors in. You want to bet? What about the 16x we've got in the last 4 weeks? What about Bepe? There's dimes everywhere, bro. There's little dimes, dude. You just chill with your friends and do meme dimes until Bitcoin breaks or Bitcoin dumps to 95, dumps to 800, and then everything goes back up. Not 800. In my eyes, Ethereum's going up, and there's nothing. Unless Bitcoin this is the double top. Unless we're in a double top scenario, okay, which we could be. What's your take on Zen and PTC and Teddy Bear? I like Teddy Bear. Is Teddy Bear the OG one? I have Teddy Bear. I definitely am a Teddy Bear holder, and recently too, because the chart was so cooked. And then I saw something funny about Moon King fading it, so I bought it. Whenever Moon King is like fading or dumping, it's like that's the time for me to get in. Literally, I like look for that kind of thing. Anyway, so this dude's posting all this stuff, right? No ticker though. No ticker. No ticker. If this was Moon King or any of those guys, there'd be 150 tickers in your face and they'd be like, get to clicking on this now. But there's another layer of human security there. There's another catch-up. All right, well, what's the ticker? If you're never showing the ticker, oh, it says TFC, W polls, but like no tags on the ticker. Yeah, I don't agree. It could be, though. It could be. If it was, I'd be happy anyway. If everything dumps forever again, it'll just give us more time to figure all this stuff out and game the system. Always have US dollar ready, or whether that be dollar, coin, or anything. Always have leverage, reverse leverage, like just have dollars on the sideline in case of an Uber dump. Just a few. Like a good 4%, 5% play on some cash can change everything if there's a Omega dump. Omega dumps. Anyway, so this guy's posting some more. Timothy Benjamin. I don't know anything about the guy, but I remember talking to him back in the day. And he's kind of Hex at Communist app. Get paid to stake Hex. That's fine. I don't know. I never really looked into that too much. I hope that worked out. I hope it did. I think it did. And by the looks of my research, he wouldn't have posted anything like that. Reputation is king. As you can see, when it comes to people, Jesus, saints are not sinners. He loves Jesus, assumingly. But I know I've been around for a long time too, and I've seen this guy around, and I've seen. So I gave watching this. I gave him a DM, a little personal DM, and this is a long video, and I am going to speed it up, but I'm trying to get a point across. And I'll show you the chart and everything afterwards. All right. And because this is not the only time I've seen this. I saw this with Hex. Although Richard was a prominent figure-ish, Richard had like 30K subscribers when I started watching him. So people don't realize that Richard was just coming onto the scene with some hype. He was an underground dude. And then everyone trusted him and bought his token and did whatever he said. It never sold. And he said he would never sell. So he kind of showed us that supply pinch model, which love it or hate it. Yeah, I'm the same way as you though. If Bitcoin's not pumping, I'm not saying you can't have some alt wins and but when you're buying the bottom, everything's fine. But for sure, dude, if you're just like praying that everything goes up right now, I think that Bitcoin hits 200K before December. I think before the first of the year, next year, I think Bitcoin will hit 200K. I really do. And I really don't think it'll be that crazy of a deal. Obviously at the top, it will. Around 200, it'll get crazy. But with all these stables getting in, I know I just think Bitcoin's going to hit that 200 number. And a lot of that comes from the lack of hype right now. Like Bitcoiners were like shilling and prilling for like 3 weeks and that's it. Like it wasn't even, you know what I mean? It didn't feel like anything. Nobody thinks they can afford Bitcoin anymore. Institutions can only buy it. People don't think they'll get rich on Bitcoin, and they're probably right. Yeah, maybe they'll get kind of rich in 20 years, but that's not what people are looking for that are not already here, that have not already made gains. I don't know. I'm confused. But institutional money's coming in. I believe in Chia. I believe in Ethereum to hold value. I don't believe in it long term as a solution. And I believe Bitcoin is just gold, and there is no use case for Bitcoin, and it will continue to go up in value, and it should, because they print out money infinitely forever. And there's a limited supply, and there's enough critical mass that it's in there. So, yes, Beppe is recession proof. So it's funny you say that. Yeah, so the meme coin that I got I'm gonna stay on topic. I am gonna if you like this content, please hit the subscribe button. I'm really active on Twitter. Before I get into Timothy Benjamin, I will show my own stuff because I am gonna listen to this for like 20 minutes on 1.75x speed. And I had to listen to it on that. Timothy, you're not the fastest chit chatter. We only got so much time, but it was great. I have never spoken to this man in my life. Other than maybe like in a Twitter space once upon a time, or like I've seen his name. He's probably seen mine because I was streaming all the time. But this clicked in my head. But first, I want to go over to, and see how I'm not trying to show you no ticker. Like the people that want to find stuff will. That's another thing I'm learning. The people that want to find stuff will. I need you to retweet this Twitter link at the bottom. Go ahead and retweet this Twitter link. Let's hit critical mass on Twitter. This one. If you're in the YouTube chat and you want to click over, hit the like button for me. I will continue to stream if I can get some positive traction. As far as like fun, like it has to be fun for me too. I'm not coming on every day. I'm coming on when something comes to my mind. Like this has been bugging me for like a week now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because there's this other coin which I have not going to even show anyone the chart. Red squirrel. You see what I mean, though, red squirrel? You see how like someone like me would so easily put $500 into something, even if a few friends of mine from the last 5 years said he's a good dude, because it's not easy to be called a good dude. It's not easy to be called a good dude. You have to give up so much fake bullcrap, fake lying, fake on Twitter, fake money, fake this, fake that, shill everything, pretend your Ethereum is like your sponsor and have some whatever. Shill, pretend, giving money to emotionally fragile people to do your bidding at a high rate. That's not the way things are going. That's the old model. The new model is trust. The new model is math. And the new model is DeFi. And it's real humans with real trust. I'm trying to get this point across before I forget it, because this is recorded. So this has been bugging me. Notice I do not play Call of Duty at all, but a lot of Call of Duty stuff comes up because I like to watch it sometimes when it's just like good background music. All right, so here he goes. I'm going to let this guy hear it out. It's going to be about 20 minutes. I will stop it, and I will make commentary. Nobody has mentioned any token. No one has mentioned any ticker. This is much bigger than this, and this is much bigger than this guy's TFC. It's just bigger than this. I'm trying to explain something. There are a few people in here that actually enjoy thinking about this stuff, although they are few and far between. This is really interesting stuff to me. I like this guy. I agree, 200K Bitcoin. Coinbase ranking is 273 on the App Store, and usually, yeah, that's a great metric, dude. I love looking at the Google stat metrics when they bubble up, because you just know it's over, because it's such a leading indicator, or it's such a, the other way. So, and again, I'm trying to make a point that people that are trusted on the ground can create coins in 2 seconds. So before there was a technology gap, now there's not. Creating a coin takes 5 seconds. You can pick the supply, and you can pick how much of the supply you allow. You can buy the supply beforehand. You can put it all on the market, or you can do whatever you want. And people are catching on to this. People with significant businesses, people that can generate revenue if they have to, people that can buy into something if there's but someone that's pinching the supply to 4% or 25%, and they hold all of it and they never sell, but they only provide liquidity with it. It's this metric, and it's all on chain so people can see it. So really, trust and DeFi are going to force their way in through people like this. I'm telling you, because I've seen it. One of my friends is crazy, and it's pissing me off. That's so I'm going to let this go for a minute. And if it's a little too fast, let me know. I had to listen to it on 1.75. So I'll start it off on 1.5. Well, I'll start it. Yeah, it's just long, but it's fine. Let's go. I want to get this across, and I want to know if I'm stupid. If I'm stupid, I'll figure this out soon.
Hello, everyone. This is Tim, and it is Thursday, May the 15th. And the purpose for this video is to let the viewer know what has been transpiring over the course of this year. And it's amazing how fast this year has gone by so far. It's almost half over. Seems like it just started the other day. But anyway, on New Year's Eve, my neighbor, Chris, who is the man who designed the plans for my house, he had invited me over, gather around his fire pit in his backyard with some other people that he knows for New Year's Eve. And while I was there, there was this couple that were asking me questions about all the logos on my car and different crypto stuff. And they'd ask me a question, and then I would answer. They'd ask me another question, I would answer it. And this went back and forth for at least 15 minutes. And then finally, my friend Travis, who is also the man I hired to build my house, he yells from the other side of the fire pit. He's like, Tim, you know so much about this cryptocurrency stuff. You and we should just start our own coin. And I don't remember exactly what I said in response.
That is a conversation that people are having around real business guys, people that think about business and money and stuff like that when they wake up and they have businesses. You know why? Because I hang out with people like that. And you know what conversations they have? Conversations like this. You want to know who with? Me. While they try to figure this stuff out, and I've reflected on the questions that they ask, and the questions are getting better. They're asking about liquidity pools. They're asking about why the money goes up and down in these pools. They're asking about, oh, well, if Solana is bonded to this and Solana goes up, but nobody buys this, what will happen to Solana? Well, the price will go up. Okay, so that's you learn about liquidity bonding, and these concepts are becoming, because they're not that confusing. DeFi is just like intimidating, and people lose money in it a lot, and it's kind of scary. So I don't know, but I'm going to keep it going. If you have any questions, concerns, or if you know this guy, Timothy Benjamin, and I'm sorry if I'm being rude. We've probably streamed together, dude. I was streaming like years ago. I just want to be clear, like, that this was a natural progression and that he set this up. So he's the one who set up guys like me. is social engineering, DeFi, the future. He knows there's guys like me out there looking for this stuff that are smart enough to read through the lines to know that you have to get into an early coin early, unless you have a lot of money in it, in order to make freaky gains. And guess what? People can replicate this over and over. You know why? Because people have real life friends and people have real life trapping of the supply. So really, this is inevitability once again. I've been talking about inevitabilities a lot. So this is one guy with a normal following that loves crypto, normal guy. He loves Jesus. All that.
To him, but it was rather dismissive because, first of all, it's one thing to know how this stuff works. It's a totally other game if you want to actually program your own cryptocurrency. I mean, that's so far out of my ballpark, it's not even funny. And I'm the guy people call when they need assistance with their computer. Couple that with the fact that my personal sentiments towards the entire cryptocurrency space at that time are probably the lowest that they've ever been in the last 13 and a half years that I've been involved in this stuff. So that was kind of the end of that. But a few weeks later, Richard Hart, the man who invented Hex and the Pulse Chain blockchain, he released a program on his network called Pump Tires. And essentially what Pump Tires is, it's a means for people to literally create their own cryptocurrency without the need for any kind of programming knowledge.
So whoever put Pump Tires together sure wanted a lot of people to be buying on that. I mean, to be making coins with fixed supplies that they can do what they want with. I think it's people are smarter than you. Remember this. People are smarter than me. I have to think in a way that people have already figured out that I'm going to come to these conclusions. Normal people, people that are a little more savvy, people that are a lot more savvy. You know, there's a line. Then it goes to the people at the gym, right? They'll start screaming about Dogecoin at the end of the cycle, right? But there is a line to these things. These things all seem like, oh, how'd you get so lucky? How'd you get so lucky? How did this happen? How did this happen? And it's like, follow the money, follow the people. What are they doing? What tools are they using? You have to learn these things. And if you have to go broke doing it, by all means, because this is the way things are moving forward. And in 10 years, you're going to say, how did they get so lucky about knowing about all? Everyone has their own coin attached to their social media profile now, and you can just trade within them, and they're all bonded to Bitcoin or whatever the F. That's how it's going to be. And everyone's going to have a token. And value is going to be determined by the market. Maybe.
Literally, you just fill in a few blanks, push a button, pay a small transaction fee, and boom, there you go. There's your crypto. And I looked at this Pump Tires program when it first launched, and
oh yeah, so the barrier of entry is gone. That was my point. Barrier of entry to make crypto gone. Everyone was 2 years ago. You'd be like, how do I launch meme coin? It's like turbo. How do anyone do that? That's what like 90% of people would say. Now they've made it so if you are normal, dumb, rock, you can do it. And I'm not saying this guy is or I am. I'm just saying like it's easy is what I'm trying to say. That part is gone. That's why it's starting to get talked about at the kitchen table. That's why. I mean, like with coffee and friends, when we make our own coin, what do you think we would do? Maybe the city should have a coin. Maybe. And if they learn about pinch supply, they win because nothing sells anything like green candles.
Quite frankly, I wasn't really that impressed with it when I first saw it because it's basically what is called a meme coin generator. And to me, meme coins are really just vain attempts to apply value to human stupidity. And unfortunately, most people can relate to being stupid. So meme coins do have a tendency to pump fairly quickly. But at the same time, they also tend to dump just as quickly because stupidity, although it does provide some comic relief to some of the garbage that we have to go through in this life, it really isn't sustainable as something to base value on. So I kind of forgot about it for a couple of weeks until I met up with Travis at his office over another matter. And as I was about to get up and leave, I sat back down and I told him, I'm like, Travis, do you remember on New Year's Eve, you talked about wanting to start your own crypto? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, Richard launched this program, and he knows who Richard is, that will allow you to do that. You don't need to know anything. You just push a button and there you go. And he just slowly pivots his chair over to his printer and grabs a piece of paper and pivots back to his desk and grabs a pen. And he's like, this is what I would do if I had my own coin. And he proceeded to draw out his method of distribution. And while he was in the process of doing that, he had said some things that caused me to stop him and say, if you're serious, I'd be willing to back you in this, because you just said some things I've been trying to get across to the entire cryptocurrency space the whole time I've been in it. And it's mostly fallen on deaf ears. And that is the distinction between the market and a team. Basically, the word market is just a word to describe human beings and their economic behaviors. And the natural disposition of human beings is one of fear, greed, and selfishness. And that's basically what drives the market. And if you want to participate in the marketplace and not have to deal with that dysfunction, then whatever you bring into the marketplace, you need to own most of the supply, because whoever owns most of the supply is authorized to define the value of that particular thing. He knew that, and he was telling me that rather than me telling him and him pretending to understand what I'm talking about. So that really caught my attention. And so with pump tires, let me share this here on the screen. Let's see. I'll try this view. This is the Pump Tires website. And one of the things I noticed when I went on there that actually did.
All right, so normal people are coming to the conclusion that you can control the price chart if you can control. Now, this isn't rocket science, right? Obviously not. The point is, people are able to do it now, and they're going to. And you know what happens when these people are doing this properly? I'm going to show you a little something. And I'll get more into it. And I am not, I mean, I definitely bought a little just because I was like learning about it and everything, but not like no one's. So this is what something like this will look like. And what they're trying to say is they're just control. Yeah, it looks like every coin in the beginning. But what he's trying to say is, you see how these kind of float on air, all the cells? How they just float up, float up, float up, one major dump. Anyway, you can basically keep these things light and fluffy while keeping the liquidity low. Whoops, wrong one. 130K to W pulse. If pulse goes up, this goes up. So obviously, if you're at the top of the market, this is going to suck. But if you're at the bottom of the market, if you think Pulse Chain is going to work out and this dude's got all the supply and only people are buying it and his entire reputation's on the line. Do you understand what I'm saying? His entire reputation's on the line. That might not mean a lot to Moon King or Matty All In or Trevon. It might not, but it means a lot to some people. And I know those people. And they wouldn't. And again, this is all just an observation. I don't know this guy really. I've just seen him around, and other people have poked it, saying like, he's a good dude. He's a good dude, and he's transparent with his face, with his name, with his companies. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, right? Because he wants this to do well. Why? Because that's probably his life's mission now, to a degree. And he could sell it all and abandon it, but for what? For 70 grand? Putting his face out there, putting his life out there, probably putting 100 grand into it to get these liquidity pools fresh, and to, however, probably obviously making money without selling the token. He'll probably get into that. I can't remember if he does. But is this resonating with anyone, or am I just talking to blank air? Like, these coins are obviously going to go up more than the coins WPLS, because they're bonded together. If this coin never got bought again and WPLS went to the moon, this coin would skyrocket. That means no buy pressure. It still goes up. Why? Because it's bonded to an asset that this guy has a lot pooled of. 1.64 billion. There's probably other pairs. Yeah, but that's the one thing that is like, yeah, it kind of does. But it's all about people. It's all about real people. You can't fake it. It's not fakeable. That's why we like Paul's chain, dude. It's not because of the tech. It's not all because of Richard. It's just like, it's not fakeable. It's just real people that bought into this idea. This idea is what people in Hex bought into. You could say it's about staking. You could say it's about this. But really at the core of it, a lot of us Pulse Chain, Hex, Ethereum people, it's all about this liquidity shock. It's all about this pinching the supply. It's all about manipulating the markets in our way, in our favor, and earning yield, and doing things safely. Bitcoin is the same as everything else. Some people lose everything. Some people win everything. Some people go long and they get 5x their money. And nobody remembers same dude loses everything. Wife leaves him, kids hate him, kills himself. That's Bitcoin too. So not fully distributed and dangerous. Market cap of what? Yeah, no, but why not? But what I'm saying is, why not? Who cares what the market cap is? It's just a fake number. Doesn't mean anything. Would disagree. Bitcoin is digital gold. You wouldn't lose everything. Of course, right? And we're talking about risk management. Like if you're going to dump a 300K into something, like buying 3 Bitcoins is the way to go. Buying 3 houses is the way to go. But this is the casino. And that's what it is right now. We're waiting for a lot of money to flow into little corners and pockets. And I am not this is all just what I've noticed. And I only do these kind of plays with like under $1,000 for me, like 100%. If I buy into TFC, I'm buying $1,000 maximum. So, and everyone's risk profile is different. And if you have 150 coins like this that you have $1,000 in, it's a little different than if you have one. And if you don't have any money, or if you have money, or if you don't have any crypto, or if you, let's go back to the thing. I know that pinching the supply is not morally, technically, ethically, technically, transparently okay. But these guys just say it. They say that they're doing it. And guess what? Your price chart goes up against the coin that's going to go up forever anyway because of infinite money. Ugh. I've been trying to dig through this a little bit. And Bepe is a good example of this too. Like, and it's not all about distribution. Like there's different plays. Bepe is a grassroots, real muscle, awesome meme on Chia that is completely interoperable with Base as far as like, that's the way that I found it kind of. And that was my first real branch from Chia, from Ethereum network to Chia. And I heard you're a goat. So let's go back to the point. Tom Bepe, everyone tells me Tom Bepe is amazing. I don't know a damn thing. I don't know a damn thing about him, but everyone tells me he's amazing. And I buy his coin and I sing his praises because I believe it. Because people don't just say that stuff over and over again about people. People don't say, oh, this is his baby, he's going on, whatever. I'm like, Bepe, don't forget it. We'll go back to the thing. I'm sorry for stopping. But I want to skip the pump tires part. I don't really like the pump tires part. But this is, I really don't want him to explain exactly the going through and making a coin thing just because it takes a lot of time. But after that, he kind of goes pump tires and says, basically pump tires is a place where you can buy your own coins or mint the supply however you want, however many coins. I can't remember exactly, but it's how you make a crypto with a distribution. That's where you mint it. And it takes 2 seconds, so everyone can do it.
And then we were contemplating inviting other people to be co-founders with us. And Travis's son was just like, if the 3 of us can put up the money, then let's just leave it with us. Because, like I said, the fewer holders you have, the less dilution of value there is, because the three of us would basically be running the show here. So that's what we did. We each put up the money to acquire 200 million pulse and buy the 80% supply. Now, all the coins that launch on.
So basically, they had to spend 800 million pulse, which is probably like 4 million, 1 million, 4 million. I don't know. It's probably like 10, 12, 15, $20,000. I think. I could be way wrong on that. And it was like 30. Whatever. Let's call it 25 bands. So they put up 25 bands and they bought their own token on the site. So the tokens did go for sale and they just all were bought up by him. And that's the point to remember. Like, they bought all the tokens with a legitimate other token that has a lot of liquidity. So therefore, bada bing, it's just a natural phase of things. This is not an opinion about anything. This is just a natural flow of human nature.
On pump tires, start off with a fixed supply of 1 billion coins, and that supply never inflates. It's just, that's it, and that's all minted in one transaction when you launch your coin. There's no mining, there's no staking. It's just straight up billion supply. There is an option for burning some of the supply. You can send coins to a burn address and deflate your supply if you choose to, but there's no inflation. So we went and launched this coin, and soon as it launched, we went directly to the right off the bat, but then most of them turn around and resold pretty much within 24 hours. However, there were two that purchased in excess of 1% of the entire supply. Actually, a total of 3% of the supply was purchased by these bots on day one. And the significance of that is, in the world of cryptocurrency, there's different titles that are given to people who hold a certain percentage of any particular asset. If you own more than 1%, you're considered a whale. And it doesn't matter what the asset is, there's only room for 100 whales total, because 100 times 1% is 100%, and there's your whole supply. So anyway, these bots bought 3% of the supply on day one. And we knew that this is something that we were going to have to deal with going forward, that supply is out there on the market. But another thing that we did after launching the coin is we implemented the first step in enlarging our team by sharing what we've done with people that we know in our immediate area, basically word of mouth. And some people started to take an interest and said, hey,
if you have the baloney, if you have the plums to go to everyone in your family and friends as a respected person and tell them to buy your crypto token, you're not rugging. Your whole entire reputation's on the line. And that's just such an easy call, like, to me. And it's just a concept. I'm trying to think of this as a concept, right? Because trust is so powerful. And earning trust takes so long, so many years of like, yeah, I could have lied and said this. Yeah, I could have lied and said that. Yeah, I could have just bought out on that. Oh, I wish I could have done this. Yeah, well, maybe if I just was like, just selling, scamming, whatever. But you can't, and smart people know this, you can't beat reputation and character. Long-term character is king 100% of the time. Yes, but you need volume. Yes, yes, of course you need some volume, right? Like, you got to reach out to people slowly, but everything on the chart, we'll keep talking about it. And bonding. If Pulse goes up forever, and this coin, if Pulse went down forever and this coin stayed the same, it would just, you know what I mean? Like, it really, all these coins, all these Solana coins, all these everything, they're just based off of Solana's price action mixed with buys and sells. Solana's price action will show up on the chart if nobody buys the token. If nobody buys the token and Solana continues up, the liquidity will be botted together. Well, no, there's bots. Everything has bots. What doesn't have bots? There's bots on all of these sites. There's bots that buy your coins the second they launch. There's bots for everything. Watch any price chart. When there's a sell, there's automated market makers within the liquidity. Bots. Everything has volume. All this PDI volume, all this is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Bots. Oh, a real buy? Bots. Oh, W pulse goes up? Bots. Oh, a dude that has 0.000003% of the supply made $80. Just sold. That's literally all they're fighting against. And that's kind of the concept that's coming into their head. It's like, oh, all these people get in early with these huge gains with all this supply, and people get in, thousands. Winklevosses have 3% of the Bitcoin. Richard was mining Bitcoin on his computer, 50 Bitcoin at a time for free. Charles Hoskinson was part of the Ethereum Foundation. Like people have all of these things, and all this botting is getting better. AI is getting better, and people are able to program this. And I'm not saying Tim's doing that. He's not going to be this advanced yet, but he'll figure it out. There are ways and avenues and things to bond your liquidity to that can work in your favor, rather than sometimes having more pairs is the detriment. Sometimes having narrow valleys to new things that nobody knows about, where all the supply is pinched, is kind of what I'm getting at. Just trying to get this stuff off my chest. I've been thinking about this crap for like 4 days, and I have other stuff to do. It's bugging me, so I had to put a video out. I did. Because there's another one. And the price chart is even more incredible, and the liquidity is real thick, and it's on Solana, and I'm not going to show you the ticker or anything. But this one my neighbor bought, and his brother, because one of their friends told him about it, and their friend is like an air mechanic. Like he does airplane mechanic work. And he made a meme coin to accept payments for his thing. And he pinched the supply, and he provided like $1 million of liquidity, and it literally just goes up forever. It's ridiculous. I'm so confused and pissed. I'm pissed because I don't have any of that coin. Well, I have a little bit actually, but just the smallest amount, because when I'm experimenting, I buy usually, just like because it's part of the whole process. Rap Beppe, just for a side note, if you are not the official meme coin of this channel at this time, for reasons only of awesomeness and being on Chia, this is a wonderful price chart. Market cap 300K. This is the wrap form. Market cap 300K. Tom Beppe, amazing art, amazing community, giveaways every single day, Telegram group. If you join the Beppe army and the Tangang army, you get free airdrops every single day for being in the Discord. If you get the NFT or do however they do it, you don't have to pay for it, and I'll send you one if you need it. That's all the alpha I'm giving you today on this, because I have been giving way too much alpha on this, and it's pissing me off. It's pissing me off because I need time to, ultimate inflation hedge, ultimate new 300. What I look for, 300K market cap, new community, Chia NFT. People aren't really on Chia like that. Interoperable with Ethereum. That wasn't too easy before. Now it's getting easier and easier. Dude. Atropa 414. Who is that? What's your YouTube? Atropa 414. The bots are incredible. I have noticed that. And I've only had 2 weeks to research this. In 2 weeks, pretty dense. I'm not going to lie. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I've been geeking out on the computer a little bit. But these bots are amazing. They're incredible. I don't understand. I understand, like, I know what they're doing. I don't know exactly how, but I see it all on chain. I see the buys, I see the Teddy, I see the FOD, I see the ratios. I have all the ratios on a spreadsheet. Like every couple of hours, I'll like switch them to like see kind of where they're pinning. I don't care. And I was never involved until it dropped 99%. I was so lucky. I had a different job and I was grinding, doing something else. And I quit my job. And it's like right at that moment when I started getting back into crypto, PDI just 99%. It's the first time my eyes laid on it. And then I looked a little bit, made sure the contract was right, poked around, saw a bunch of other stuff. And I just bought it because it's just my nature. 99% dips, blood in the water. Yeah, but if you don't have Bepe, you are messed up because you just get free stuff and learn about decentralized finance, bridging between different blockchains. You just can't go wrong. 250K, 300 market cap, all-time highs every single day. You're screwed. That kind of stuff. Gene, powerhouse. I did an interview with Gene. Yeah, I'll plug my own stuff in the middle of this whole. I'll stream all day. I don't care. But I've been trying to put out some content online again. Now that I'm a little more familiar, I've had like 2 weeks back. And trust me, those were a jam-packed 2 weeks of learning. Catching up with what everyone else has learned, catching up with what the big brains are doing. Right. So, yeah. So if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I hope you appreciate. If you are not subscribed, hope you appreciate my artwork. I've been trying to get better at it. I'm nothing crazy, but Ticker Pulse Chain has been all over my ass lately. So if you see me with talking about Ticker Pulse Chain, I'll tell you one thing about Ticker Pulse Chain, and if you don't know what it is, just don't bother. But I hope they clip this. Ticker Pulse Chain is a schizophrenic force that I have never, ever, ever witnessed in my life. I've never felt so much schizo energy. And I feel like if I did buy a little bit, because I'm just involved in the community, man. I'm trying to get involved, have fun with my friends. Price chart looked healthy for kind of along the same lines of what we're talking about, except this is more like meme schizo. But Ticker Pulse Chain won't leave. I mean, Ticker Pulse Chain might not take no for an answer. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll find out. Yeah, so lately, again, I've been posting some shorts. I try to really post things that matter to me. Like I only post things if it really. Oh, please don't say they launched one. He better send me 99% of the supply. If he does not send me 99% of the supply, I'll tell everyone to rug it. Don't buy that token, please. Don't. Without verifying stuff. Don't just go buying stuff. That's what this channel's always been about. We're not switching up. We can't just switch up. We got to be chill. We got to be honest. All right. So, yeah, I've been doing YouTube. Dropped my first video. This is a masterclass. If you like listening to Richard, this is a 2023 masterclass. So good. And then a couple, big fan of Gene Hoffman here. Big fan of RH. Not a big fan of this boat.
Hey, everyone. I want to make you
piece of dirt. Absolute horrible person. I hope Coinbase goes under. Well, that's not nice to say. Oh, this is the question of the day. Question of the day. Question of the year. Why is Ethereum lagging so hard? No new all-time high since 2021. We are 6 months into the 4th year of the cycle. Dude, to be honest, I don't even think it's fair. These things happen quick, right? 27 days. Listen, Caesar. 27 days after Bitcoin topped, Ethereum topped. So think about that. If Bitcoin were to get to 200K, let's say, yeah, the ratios are weird because everything's inflated right now. And Ethereum is like, but don't get it twisted. Everyone will be swapping into DeFi, but it's closer to the top of Bitcoin. Ethereum just ran from 1700 to 25 and stopped. It did it in like 24 hours. Dude, Ethereum will run to 4,600 in a day. Ethereum will legitimately do a double in a day or two. No problem. If Bitcoin confirms it. What wallet wants to send some coins for giveaways from your channel? What's your wallet? Want to send some coins for a giveaway from your channel? I'll give you my streaming wallet. I will give them away. Wait, are you talking about like an ETH wallet? There's like an ETH wallet for donos. I don't really put stuff out there. ETH or Pulse Chain wallet. I don't really put stuff out there too much, but I do love giveaways. Giveaways are such a good way to get people involved and have fun, and it's usually low. Like, you know, like I gave away 5xch last week. We did a little giveaway. It was so fun. Like, you know what I mean. Anyway, we're gonna go back to Timothy. I hope I made my point-ish. I hope I made my point-ish. I know I'm all over the place, but yeah, that'll be one for Pulse Chain. I just play around and trade on that one, so don't judge anything you see. I just literally spam, just to experiment. All right, I'm gonna play this again. I'm gonna hear him out a little bit when he starts talking about liquidity, even though this is good stuff to get. He lays it out basic for you, which he really didn't have to do, because he's probably a little more advanced, to be honest, but like normal person advanced, like maybe like me advanced as far as like understanding about this stuff. But I'm not. There's guys that know so much more than me, but they're just rare, right? There's only a few guys that I know or could look to, and they're all online. And those are the only ones that I can really talk to about this stuff, because they're the only ones that have enough experience in the bull runs and to seeing this over and over and over again. And they've capitalized on it constantly. Don't rely on your human brain to do the right decisions. You have to group think. You have to use AI. You have to stay locked in. Ratios, baby.
I'll buy some of your coin. And we began to assemble a team. And because we started picking up traction as far as volume and transactions in regard to our coin, we made an appearance on what is known as DEX Screener, which is it's basically a tracking site that has all kinds of price charts for multiple assets on here. And this is our price chart. And what we did is our team, we would just buy every day whenever we had funds available. And on this chart, each one of these candles represents a 3-day period. And you can tell by looking at the bottom underneath, you see there's March 14th, April 13th, May 13th, and here we are today. So anyway, eventually, one of these traders, one of the whales, the larger of the two whales, he dumped his entire bag on this day where this red candle is. And of course, we bought that supply up. And what happened is because our coin is paired with Pulse, and Pulse is what is known as a volatile coin, because the price is subject to change every time the network updates the ledger, which is basically every 10 seconds. So the price of Pulse defines the price of our coin. And as a result, our coin is volatile. And if the price of Pulse goes down, then even when we buy it, it tends to create red candles on our chart. And red candles mean that the price at the end of the day is lower than what it was at the beginning of the day. You can see.
So even with no volume, if the asset something's tied to goes down, concept people cannot get through their damn head. Red candles on the chart, even if no sell volume. Get it through your head, dude and dudettes. These assets go up because there's a market on both sides of them. One might be idle at the moment, but the other one's still ripping, and it's a ratio. So you will see giant red candles on charts that have no sell pressure, vice versa. You're seeing this in real time with the Atropa ecosystem too, if you watch carefully. But I don't suggest watching carefully because it'll make you neurotic. But some of us have no off switch. Your boy, as you can see by my hair, I've been grinding, been learning, having fun. Let's keep it going, because he is breaking this down pretty easy for us. And these are concepts that took me a long time to figure out. So brushing up on just the basics, even though it's kind of just in, out, one for one. Interesting stuff.
At the top of the chart here, this O means the price on opening day. The high is the price, the highest price throughout the course of the day or the course of the candle. As I said, these are 3-day candles. And then L represents the lowest price during that period. The C means the closing price at the end of the period. And then this represents the total price difference throughout the time of that particular candle. So what happened is, as we started to accumulate more and more of the supply, we got to a point where we wanted to create a second liquidity pool where we could pair our coin with what is known as a stable coin, which is the opposite of a volatile coin. A stable coin is worth $1, and as long as that stable coin maintains its dollar peg, it doesn't change value. It just always remains at $1. And we decided that we wanted to wait.
So you can pair things to a little bit of a lesson. You can pair things to stable coins. You can pair things to any asset, but like if we're being what you would do, you can have, if you think that Pepe is going to the moon, well, let's call, I don't want to say this on Chia because I'm not actually sure the mechanics are exactly the same. But let's say Wrap Pepe on Pulse Chain, which there should be a Wrap Pepe on Pulse Chain. I'll buy the shit out of it, bridge it, blah, blah, blah. These ratios, man, people don't understand the ratios. They think, oh, well, it's just if people buy this money, if people just keep buying this ticker, it just goes up forever. Well, not if the native asset that it's tied to just dumps and it's worth 50% less, if being that there's two pools, right? So you got to start thinking about this as more of a matter of fact than like some conspiracy. Like if you look at this stuff long enough, you'll realize nobody just did 17 trades in 22 seconds on PDI. 2 people bought. AMM bots filtered through between a web of liquidity that someone's paying attention to. Intentional. It's trust though. Like the whole PDI thing doesn't have the trust. So PDI has like everything but the trust, right? PDI is more of just like a absolute nuclear punt play that I'm scared to sell. So let's go back to it. And if you like this content, please subscribe. Jim Rat Crypto, my we're making YouTube chats great again. I'm getting some good chats today. There's my X tweet. Go ahead and retweet. Good to see everyone. Crypto Compassion. I hope I didn't miss you. I saw your thing. Goblins. We're getting some of the good faces back. We're getting some good faces back. What's going on, fam? Let's make YouTube chats great again. YouTube chat is suffering all around the world, guys. And it might be inevitability, but we'll continue. Retweet the tweet. Go to my Twitter. Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell notification. I am live streaming. So when crazy stuff happens, if RH goes live, if Vitalik does this, if Gene Hoffman goes here to DC to talk, like I'm covering that, John. I'm on that. You'll be first in line. I'll be set up before the camera crews are set up for them. I'm on it.
Until we had acquired approximately 95% of the total supply before creating the second pool. So that was around the middle of April, about during the time of this green candle right here. And at that time, after we as a team, we met together and I explained stablecoins to everybody and showed them a list of all the different stablecoins that are available on Pulse Chain. We all came to an agreement on which stablecoin we were going to pair with. And that is with a coin known as USDL. And this is the price chart for that liquidity pool. Now, one thing that is a part of the PulseX exchange, you can see here there's V1 and V2. On V1, version 1 of PulseX, if you create a liquidity pool, which is what we did when we launched our coin, all of the fees that the exchange generates from the trading of the coin are used to buy and burn the PulseX coin, which is just a coin that is associated with the exchange. If you create a coin on version 2 of the exchange, then you are entitled to fees if you're a liquidity provider. Instead of those fees being used to buy and burn PulseX, they are distributed to the liquidity providers based on what percentage of the pool they own. So we eventually got to that place where we created a second liquidity pool on version 2 of PulseX. And that's this chart. You can see here, it's our coin TFC. That's our ticker. The name of the coin is called the Fitzgerald Company. And then USDL is the stable coin that we decided to pair with. And once we did that, it was at that point that we implemented the second effort to enlarge our team by disclosing the price chart on X. I still like to call it Twitter. But I started posting on X at that point when we created the second poll. And I've been posting every day on there. And I've only posted just the candles and the days. I didn't post the ticker or any of the coin information at that time because I wanted people to ask me for the contract address, because I wanted to get a sense of who is taking an interest in our coin so I can get a sense of who is on our team, unless somebody just directly tells me, hey, I'm on the team. So that's been the strategy from that point to this point. So where we are now is this video is basically the third attempt to enlarge our team by explaining everything that has transpired to bring this coin into existence, why it exists, what our objectives are, what our plan is to create success. And part of that has to do with the fact, you look here.
I have never met this man in my life. I purchased like $300 of the token yesterday, and I've noticed that other people are doing this. So this is more of like, I'm trying to show people what normal people are doing and how intentional they're being about it. I don't get paid to do any of this crap, dude. It's just, I mean, I make money when I buy stuff and it goes up a lot, but I buy, research, tell it online right away. Everything. I can't hold it in. I've never been able to. I literally have, I didn't do good on this token at all. So the answer is I get paid none because I'm smart and I have integrity. So I don't ruin. Well, I guess a lot of people do it. I just don't get paid to do this. I just do it for fun. This is what I do for fun. This is how I get my ideas out. V4 is more interesting. Red Squirrel, hit my DMs, dude. I have not done a V4 breakdown, and I will do a YouTube video behind the scenes recorded V4 breakdown. I need some help. I understand. I probably understand somewhat, but I don't understand. I haven't looked into it yet enough. So V4 breakdown, I need your help, Red Squirrel. To the moon.
Here on this chart, scroll down here. As I said, there's only enough room in any asset for 100 whales. And as of now, there are only 3 whale positions left on the exchange. It is the most instantly gratifying way of taking a profit. However, in the world of decentralized finance, which is what PulseChain and PulseX brings to the marketplace, is the fact that there's actually 3 different ways to take a profit from a cryptocurrency. The first way is the way that everybody's acquainted with, and that's where you sell to an exchange. And this is what most people who are into crypto do. They buy Bitcoin or whatever from an exchange. They buy it at a certain price because they believe it's going to go up in price. And when it does, they sell it back to the exchange for a profit that they cash out, and that's that. But what decentralized finance does is it allows people to sell from the exchange. Centralized exchanges don't do that. They say, okay, here's the prices we deal with, and you either take it or leave it. With decentralized finance, what it offers people is not only the ability to create their own wealth, but it gives them the authority to define the value of that wealth. And that's where liquidity pools come in.
I got more where that came
because
from.
What happens is when you create a liquidity pool, particularly on version 2 of PulseX, where you can earn fees, what you're doing is, instead of selling to the exchange, you're using the exchange as a store, like eBay, for example, where you take your asset and let's say you want to sell $100 worth of your coin. Well, what is required is you have to put up $100 worth of something else to pair with what you want to sell. And then what the exchange does is it compensates you based on the volume of the buys and the sells of both assets, because you've provided for both sides of the pair. So in other words, you're not giving your money away to somebody. You're simply parking it in a place where other people are allowed to interact with it. And the exchange compensates you for making that available because you are providing a service. And another way these exchanges work is every time a buy or a sell occurs, that impacts the price. So if you look on the price chart here, let's see. When a person buys, they tend to push the price up unless the other asset drops in price between the last buy and the current one. But usually buys produce green candles because the buys push the price up. If you sell to the exchange, you're pushing the price down. And it's the down price that you're actually getting from the sale, not the current price.
Ruskino, like welcome to the chat, brother.
When you go on PulseX, before you actually pull the trigger, it tells you this is the price impact that it's going to have. And you have to confirm whether or not you want to go through with that. So by providing liquidity, what you're doing is you're making your coins available for sale. So the buyers push the price up instead of you selling to the exchange and pushing the price down. And if you own most of the supply, then you decide how much supply you're going to sell at any given time. So right now, there's 3 whale positions left. If, like I said, a whale owns 1% of the supply. If you own 10% of the supply, you're considered a Poseidon. And right now, there are no Poseidon positions available in our coin because there's just not that many on the exchange. If somebody decided, hey, I'd like to hold a Poseidon position in your coin, well,
so he's saying that 10% of the supply is not available. You got to read between the lines.
Those of us who have a Poseidon position, we would have to decide whether or not we wanted to make those coins available for sale. And that's the third way one can take profit with cryptocurrency is you can do what is called an over-the-counter sale, where you simply send coins from your wallet to somebody else's wallet based on some kind of personal agreement that you make with that person, and you bypass the exchange altogether. So those are the 3 ways of taking profit. You sell to the exchange, push the price down. You sell from the exchange, where buyers push the price up. Or you sell directly person to person without the exchange. And this brings the question of how do you know that you guys aren't going to just rage dump and just sell all your coins and get all that pulse out of the liquidity pool? Because if you look on our price chart, we put up 200 million pulse to buy 80% of the supply. There's still 3.8% of the supply left, but we've accumulated over 1 billion pulse. So we've accumulated an additional 800 million pulse in our liquidity pool because of people buying our coin. And somebody can look at that and say, well, how do we know you guys, since you guys own most of the supply, how do we know you're not just going to dump and get all that pulse back for yourself? Well, there's 2 things. First of all, Travis is a licensed contractor here in Arizona. He intentionally chose to name the coin after his contracting business because that brings an element of professional conduct into the cryptocurrency space, which is something I've not seen before.
So this is the phenomenon that I've been talking about, guys. I'll continue, but it's a phenomenon. It's not just this guy. He's early, so early. And this isn't something that's never been done before. Like Richard Hart did this in everyone's face and showed everyone. But I don't know if the game theory wasn't as tight then, man. We didn't have the tools. We didn't have the bots. We didn't have the AI. We didn't have the supply metrics. We were still experimenting and we were using old models. New models will be more refined. But guess what? This is DeFi. People forget everything is interchangeable for everything. So everything is tied together. Everything. Everything is tied to Bitcoin. Everything is tied to stocks. Slowly, Bitcoin is becoming a heavier anchor than some stocks, some big stocks. So the money, what we're trying to say is when the money is interchangeable, if you could swap whatever it is that you have for whatever else, the only thing left is trust and yield and supply metrics. Yeah, I think the age of tech we are currently in is a macro environment. Crypto and business entities associated will be more common, for sure. And yeah, it's definitely not new. Like, I don't want anyone to think it's new. It's just new for contractors and airplane builders and guys that have companies and revenue that aren't associated with the internet already are starting to do this in their communities, and they're more trusted than any public servant. I don't know this guy. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. But people have messaged me and said he's a great guy. And he has honest intentions. And he has a family. And I looked him up a little bit. And he's all public. You know, his whole entire life rides on something like this. Messing everyone up. Publicly coming out. Ghost launching a coin. Telling all his friends about it. I'll ride those waves. You know, I'll take risky shots at shit like that because guess what? Dude owns 97%, 90% of the supply. Nobody's going to know this in the bull market. Nobody's going to know anything. They're just going to say, oh, that green candle, you'll run, chase it. So we're in a preparation mode right now where we're preparing for potentially huge gains. Yeah, definitely not a waste of time. I'm kind of on the same boat as you, but I'm trying to. This is a question that's coming up a lot to me in person in DMs and stuff, like these little metrics about liquidity providing. So rather, it's just kind of been a good way to like go both ways with it. It's almost over, guys. It's probably like 6 more minutes. Hit a question in the chat, a comment in the chat. Give me something. Let me. I want to know what you think about this episode. Real people are starting stuff like this. They're learning how to pinch supply. They're only letting people in that truly care about the cause, or at least truly know about the cause, which they're making exceedingly harder. So therefore, like, you want less people into things when you start them. Those people that know that they're in early will always be there to support, because the price chart will reflect them to do so. This is the markets. This is human nature. This is greed, fear, envy, all that stuff. Just a fact of human nature. DeFi is just giving human nature more of a fluid place to figure out like who they want to trust.
Never seen a cryptocurrency that was named after a legitimate business. And as a matter of fact, we even have a Twitter account that is associated with our coin. Now, granted, we haven't really published hardly anything from this account yet because
we haven't published anything. You hear that? That's a GRC signal. 99% dips. My dog comes out. Barely anyone knows about it. My dog comes out. Pinch supply. My dog comes out. Liquidity, providing solutions for maintaining price charts. My dog comes out.
we were waiting until the production of this video before disclosing publicly the full story behind our coin. But this is Travis's company logo. This is the name of his company. This is his ROC number. So the point being,
but we all knew. We all knew about them. We all knew that was a rug. Those were centralized exchanges. This is not a centralized exchange. The fact that you are doing crypto, well, Doquan's wasn't. Doquan's was an algorithmic stablecoin that was so clearly failing. So clear. I live streamed the Doquan God candle, red candle. We called that on the show, Mashinsky, that we knew that years before. Keep your money out of centralized exchanges. Day one. Day one. We don't do centralized exchanges. So anything that goes on a centralized exchange, that is not crypto. Terra Luna, an algorithmic stablecoin with no backing. Very clear. If you're in the space, that if you were putting money in there, that you were clueless, although it made mad gains. Everything at that time made mad gains. You have to be decentralized. This is why we like Pulse Chain. This is why we like Chia. This is why we like Ethereum. Whether it's centralized in, certain ways, be that supply, be that node count, be that whatever. It's just, I can trade between anything and bridge between anything at all times, period. I have off ramps, on ramps, this, that, freedom. Freedom. None of that was freedom. Just like Sui. I'm sure if somebody was looking into Sui, they would have known VC capital adjusted shit. There's a reason I don't hang out in a lot of areas. I don't hang out in Solana, although I probably wish I did, to be honest, because they make buku bucks over there. But I don't go over there because I don't believe it's truly decentralized. And I believe that they'll shut it down. And I believe all your NFTs aren't actually listed on there. And I believe they can shut down the server at any time. A lot of tokens have been named after their company or associated with it. Most RWA tokens, utility tokens, and limited company. This is not the first token, or maybe the first to pump fund fork on Pulse. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I am running into people like this in person. Yes, for sure. Yeah, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I have no stake in this token working out. I literally spent $300 on the token, did my research, had my fun, messaged my people. but it is an inevitability. In the world of inevitability, something that can't be stopped. This is something that can't be stopped, tracked, or monitored. And there will be ways around it, and people will get better at it if they do. But DeFi is about freedom to transact and freedom to, there's freedoms involved, I feel like. And you can't just, now when it comes to supply pinching, like, I just don't, I feel like humans are going to take back what legacy has been doing to us for years. Dude, for sure. And not only on Pulse Chain, dude. So there's another one, Tom. So my neighbor and his brother, my neighbor and his brother bought this token that this airplane mechanic made. It was like a meme coin, but it had like pay for mechanic utility, or like maybe a future promise that it would be like used in that space as some currency, whatever, basically a meme coin. And they made like friggin' 500 G's on like 2 G's or something. And the price charge keeps going up. And the dude just keeps providing LP. And that's what I learned about it. And I kept an eye on that token. And then I learned about this. And then I started thinking, like, why is there no trust anyway? You can't trust anyone with anything anymore. So that's kind of what this has all just been about, really. Like, this has just been like a mind experiment for myself. I believe in inevitabilities of human nature. I feel like as long as things are allowed to happen, they will. And this will be adjusted for somehow. Luckily, you can't build on Bitcoin. So, like, it's a kind of interesting. This like might make Bitcoin better that everyone does this because, well, whatever. So that's the episode today, guys. 369 in here. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're on Twitch, subscribe over there. Yeah, so I don't want to talk about the other token too much because I have looked into it, but it's far, far on its way. And it's just, this one was brand new. I feel comfortable talking about brand new stuff more so because there's not enough money in there for me to feel like, if that makes sense. I have an extremely high risk tolerance, extremely high. What would make you quiver in your seat? What would make you call your family members and say, I need help right now? I could probably pull off 4 times in a day and still just not even know about it. This came to my mind. This came to my heart. I felt like I had to say something about it for this guy. And again, I need you all to know, like, if this thing 10,000X's, I will make whatever $300 is times that. And dude, Tom, hit me up soon, dude. I have some ideas, some collabby ideas for like, not even promotion. Well, I guess it is promotion, but I want to talk about Pepe and I want to talk about memes and stuff and like how you guys are all doing these burns and how you guys are all this community that everyone that holds like whatever amount of the token gets airdrops forever, like all those metrics. I love all that stuff you're doing. You're very creative. I feel like if it's you coming up with all that stuff, your giveaway stuff is great. Like it's very, like it actually has movement to it rather than just being like, retweet this and then whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, guys, I hope you have an amazing day. God bless. I might be back tomorrow. Bitcoin looking at an uber double top. If we don't break through, 10 million. 10 trillion by the end of the year. I don't need to look. 10 trillion by the end of the year. 10 trillion by the end of the year. You hear me? You got comms on that, Caesar? Can you put in the chat if you got comms on that? 200K Bitcoin. 10 million crypto market cap. 10 trillion. Let's have a great day, guys, though. Stay sharp. Try not to swing trade too much. Remember, every time you do trade, you lose to slippage and fees. People don't realize it, but as someone who really just uses their streaming computer to experiment and like buy and provide, just do a bunch of random stuff, you lose heavy. If you do 100 trades in a week, you could be losing 100, 200 bucks to, to fees, and then slippage is another story. So sometimes it can feel like a fair trade all because it's like instantaneous, but understand that if I buy something once and leave it, even if there's a crazy dip, like and you buy 30 times and you get like a 3%, 8% better buy, you just spammed the network and wasted your money. Jennifer, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciated the feedback. This has been one of the best shows for feedback in a while, and I think it was because I actually felt like talking about this specifically. It didn't just come up. This is something that I've been thinking about, and I totally got it off my chest. So now all I have to do is come up with the supply metrics for my Chia meme coin. Ha ha ha! I'm just kidding. No, I would never compete against Beppe. That's just a climb I can't climb, and I'm in the Beppe army. But who knows what the future holds, guys. I'm open for anything. It's honest. Integrity, honesty. Guess what you're not allowed to do? Leverage trading links. We don't like those. Paid groups. We don't like those. If someone is asking you to pay them to research crypto, does that mean that they're researching and then getting back to you? Or does that mean they're just telling you what they already know about the market beforehand? And all they want is your money. And they could give a rat's ass if you have results or not, because they can market around that stuff. Somebody has results. Oh, they're not talking to the group anymore. Oh, you're not in the crypto course anymore. Oh, well, fuck him. He never existed. Thanks for your $3,500. Some of these other guys they're happy still. So no paid groups, no leverage trading. No, I used to say no coin launch, but that's kind of against the show today. Still no coin launch up to this day. And no referral. I don't like any of it. If I had a sponsor for the show, that would be fine. If someone had a sponsor that I aligned with and they wanted, that would be fine. Something like that. That's like just, but intellectual integrity is the number one thing when it comes to watching a show. I looked for a show like this one forever. And it's not like I was the person that I wanted to watch, but I just had to learn the stuff I wanted to learn. It took me a long time, but it's just not like the most normal thing for people to get out of their mouths all the time. It's like, it's financy, it's gambly, it's high risk, but it's the future in this case. I know what the future looks like, kind of. I know this is integrated. I know DeFi is fully integrated. I know everybody has a token on their integrated social media platforms that are all bonded together. I guarantee there will be one social media platform that somehow benefits the whole conglomerate by reposting everything onto everything or whatever. And then a coin associated with each person based on value. What is value, right? Clicks. For a long time, value was only clicks. You know what I'm saying? Does this make any sense? Like, value is changing from like, just like in the world of work. Like, you want to get a contractor to come to your house and do a kitchen remodel? I know, everyone's so rich, right? Everyone's so rich, everyone can afford it one drop. You're paying $55,000 to $100,000, period, to get a serious company with insurance to come into your house. You think that's competitive rate? It's not. The construction industry is flying because it's actually a necessity. Like, I needed to get my kitchen and everything redone, right? I ended up doing it myself primarily, but the rates, I was like, I can do this for 14 and do it myself, or I can do it for 55. And it's just a small little like kitchen, open a wall, redid some plumbing. Yeah, it's kind of extensive actually, but like the value curve is cracking. People are working all day just to maybe have a place to live, maybe. And this thing it's all going to twist. It's all going to turn. Normal people with integrity are going to start gaining wealth. because really they had the value the whole time. DeFi just found it, right? Because the hardest part about life is having integrity, being honest, meaning what you say, and it's not the hardest thing, but it's like it earned respect. Like I have gone about my life trying not to F people over, and I've failed at that sometimes, but never like super directly. So that's going to be more of the currency moving forward. Like what channel is not lying to you? The channels that I watched about bodybuilding back when I was into that really hard, they never lied about stuff. They were always honest about what steroids did and what, the blood pressure metrics and blood work metrics that you should watch out for, and, pre-alopecia and it was detailed. And it worked. It worked like a charm. It was the right information. I think we're in the same spot now. Guys, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because I go up on some crazy stuff. I'll go live if some crazy stuff pops off. And make sure you drop a bicep. If you have a suggestion for a show from me, please put it in the comments. Anything in my DMs, I will read. I want to do a closeout video to show you guys my old. Yeah, so I didn't give you the whole thing with Tim. I think I gave you about 80% of it. That wasn't really a shill either. Like, because that was more of like, if you know what I'm talking about, maybe you would want to get involved and look into it. And maybe I'm just learning. Maybe I deserve to get wrecked from this. I get wrecked all the time, guys. And I learn lessons from it every time. So I just try not to learn lessons that are going to financially destroy me. That would be not what you want to do. I wish I had the crypto in the morning song still logged in, but I don't. If you're in here, if you're a part of the Twitter fam, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, do all the things. We'll be back. Peace.